Deuteronomy, Dabarim. Chapter 1. These be the words which Moshe spoke unto all Yasharel on this side Yarden, in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran, and Tophel, and Laban, and Hatzeroth, and Di-Zahab. There are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barnea. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moshe spoke unto the children of Yasharel, according unto all that Yahuah had given him in commandment unto them, after he had slain Sihon the king of the Amorrhi, which dwelt in Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan, which dwelt at Ashtaroth, in Edrei. On this side Yarden, in the land of Moab, began Moshe to declare this law, saying, Yahuah our Elohim spoke unto us at Horeb, saying, You have dwelt long enough in this mount. Turn you, and take your journey, and go to the mount of the Amorrhi, and unto all the places nigh thereunto, in the plain, in the hills, and in the vale, and in the south, and by the seaside, to the land of the Canaani, and unto Lebanon, unto the great river, the river Perath. Behold, I have set the land before you. Go in and possess the land which Yahuah swore unto your fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob, to give unto them and to their seed after them. And I spoke unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone. Yahuah your Elohim has multiplied you, and behold, you are this day as the stars of heaven for multitude. Yahuah Elohim of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as you are, and bless you as he has promised you. How can I myself alone bear your cumbrance, and your burden, and your strife? Take you wise men, and understanding, and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. And you answered me, and said, The thing which you have spoken is good for us to do. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men, and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribes. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, Hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with him. You shall not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as well as the great. You shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is Elohim's, and the cause that is too hard for you, bring it unto me, and I will hear it. And I commanded you at that time all the things which you should do. And when we departed from Horeb, we went through all that great and terrible wilderness, which you saw by the way of the mountain of the Amorrhi, as Yahuah our Elohim commanded us. And we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said unto you, You are come unto the mountain of the Amorrhi, which Yahuah our Elohim does give unto us. Behold, Yahuah your Elohim has set the land before you. Go up and possess it, as Yahuah Elohim of your fathers has said unto you. Fear not, neither be discouraged. And ye came near unto me every one of you, and said, We will send men before us, and they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again by what way we must go up, and into what cities we shall come. And the same pleased me well, and I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe. And they turned, and went up into the mountain, and came unto the valley of Eshcol, and searched it out. And they took of the fruit of the land in their hands, and brought it down unto us, and brought us word again, and said, It is a good land which Yahuah our Elohim does give us. Notwithstanding, you would not go up, but rebelled against the commandment of Yahuah your Elohim. And you murmured in your tents, and said, Because Yahuah hated us, he has brought us forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, and delivered us into the hand of the Amorrhi to destroy us. Whither shall we go up? Our brethren have discouraged our hearts, saying, The people is greater and taller than we. The cities are great and walled up to heaven, and moreover, we have seen the sons of the Anakim there. Then I said unto you, Dread not, neither be afraid of them. Yahuah your Elohim, which goes before you, he shall fight for you, according to all that he did for you in Mitzrayim before your eyes. And in the wilderness, where you have seen how that Yahuah your Elohim bare you, as a man does bear his son, in all the way that you went until ye came into this place. Yet in this thing did ye not believe Yahuah your Elohim, who went in the way before you, to search you out a place to pitch your tents in fire by night, to show you by what way you should go, and in a cloud by day. And Yahuah heard the voice of your words, and was wroth, and swore, saying, Surely there shall not one of these men of this evil generation see that good land, which I swore to give unto your fathers. Save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he shall see it, and to him will I give the land that he has trodden upon, and to his children, because he has wholly followed Yahuah. Also, Yahuah was angry with me for your sakes, saying, You also shall not go in thither. But Yahusha, the son of Nun, which stands before you, he shall go in thither. Encourage him, for he shall cause Yasharel to inherit it. Moreover, your little ones, which you said should be a prey, and your children, which in that day had no knowledge between good and evil, they shall go in thither, and unto them will I give it, and they shall possess it. But as for you, turn you, and take your journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Then you answered and said unto me, We have sinned against Yahuah. We will go up and fight, according to all that Yahuah our Elohim commanded us. And when you had girded on every man his weapons of war, you were ready to go up into the hill. And Yahuah said unto me, Say unto them, Go not up, neither fight, for I am not among you, lest you be smitten before your enemies. So I spoke unto you, and you would not hear, but rebelled against the commandment of Yahuah, and went presumptuously up into the hill. And the Emori which dwelt in that mountain came out against you, and chased you as bees do, and destroyed you in Seir, even unto Hormah. And you returned and wept before Yahuah, but Yahuah would not hearken to your voice, nor give ear unto you. So you abode in Kadesh many days, according unto the days that you abode there. Chapter 2. Then we turned, and took our journey into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as Yahuah spoke unto me. And we compassed Mount Seir many days. And Yahuah spoke unto me, saying, You have compassed this mountain long enough. Turn you northward, and command you the people, saying, You are to pass through the coast of your brethren, the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, and they shall be afraid of you. Take you good heed unto yourselves, therefore. Meddle not with them, for I will not give you of their land, no, not so much as a footbreadth, because I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for a possession. You shall buy meat of them for money, that you may eat, and you shall also buy water of them for money, that you may drink. For Yahuah your Elohim has blessed you in all the works of your hand. He knows you're walking through this great wilderness. These 40 years Yahuah your Elohim has been with you. You have lacked nothing. And when we passed by from our brethren, the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, through the way of the plain from Eloth, and from Etzion-Geber, we turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. And Yahuah said unto me, Distress not the Moab, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give you of their land for a possession, because I have given Ar unto the children of Lot for a possession. The Amim dwelt therein in times past, a people great and many and tall as the Anaki, which also were accounted Rapha as the Anaki, but the Moab called them Amim. The Hori also dwelt in Seir beforetime, but the children of Esau succeeded them, when they had destroyed them from before them, and dwelt in their stead, as Yasharel did unto the land of his possession, which Yahuah gave unto them. Now rise up, said I, and get you over the brook Zered. And we went over the brook Zered. And the space in which we came from Kadesh Barnea, until we were come over the brook Zered, was 38 years. until all the generation of the men of war were wasted out from among the host, as Yahuah swore unto them. For indeed the hand of Yahuah was against them, to destroy them from among the host, until they were consumed. So it came to pass, when all the men of war were consumed and dead from among the people, that Yahuah spoke unto me, saying, You are to pass over through Ar, the coast of Moab, this day. And when you come nigh over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them. For I will not give you of the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it unto the children of Lot for a possession. That also was accounted a land of Rapha. Rapha dwelt therein in old time, and the Ammoni called them Zamzon, a people great, and many, and tall as the Anaki. But Yahuah destroyed them before them, and they succeeded them, and dwelt in their stead, as he did to the children of Esau, which dwelt in Seir, when he destroyed the Hori from before them, and they succeeded them, and dwelt in their stead, even unto this day. And the Aoi, which dwelt at Hatzarim, even unto Azah, the Caphtor, which came forth out of Caphtor, destroyed them, and dwelt in their stead. Rise you up, take your journey, and pass over the river Arnon. Behold, I have given it into your hand. Sihon the Emori, king of Heshbon, and his land, begin to possess it, and contend with him in battle. This day will I begin to put the dread of you and the fear of you upon the nations that are under the whole heaven, who shall hear report of you, and shall tremble and be in anguish because of you. And I sent messengers out of the wilderness of Kedemoth unto Sihon king of Heshbon with words of peace, saying, Let me pass through your land. I will go along by the highway. I will neither turn unto the right hand nor to the left. You shall sell me meat for money, that I may eat, and give me water for money, that I may drink. Only I will pass through on my feet. As the children of Esau, which dwell in Seir, and the Moabi, which dwell in Ar, did unto me, until I pass over Yarden into the land which Yahuah our Elohim gives us. But Sihon, king of Heshbon, would not let us pass by him. For Yahuah your Elohim hardened his spirit, and made his heart obstinate, that he might deliver him into your hand, as appears this day. And Yahuah said unto me, Behold, I have begun to give Sihon and his land before you. Begin to possess, that you may inherit his land. Then Sihon came out against us, he and all his people, to fight at Yahatz. And Yahuah our Elohim delivered him before us, and we smote him, and his sons, and all his people. And we took all his cities at that time, and utterly destroyed the men, and the women, and the little ones of every city. We left none to remain. Only the cattle we took for a prey unto ourselves, and the spoil of the cities which we took. From Aroer, which is by the brink of the river of Arnon, and from the city that is by the river, even unto Gilad, there was not one city too strong for us. Yahuah our Elohim delivered all unto us. Only unto the land of the children of Ammon you came not, nor unto any place of the river Yabbok, nor unto the cities in the mountains, nor unto whatsoever Yahuah our Elohim forbade us. Chapter 3. Then we turned and went up the way to Bashan, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. And Yahuah said unto me, Fear him not, for I will deliver him, and all his people, and his land into your hand. And you shall do unto him as you did unto Sihon the king of Emori, which dwelt at Heshbon. So Yahuah our Elohim delivered into our hands Og also, the king of Bashan, and all his people. And we smote him until none was left to him remaining. And we took all his cities at that time. There was not a city which we took not from them. 80 cities, all the region of Argob, the kingdom of Og in Bashan. All these cities were fenced with high walls, gates, and bars, beside the unwalled towns a great many. And we utterly destroyed them, as we did unto Sihon the king of Heshbon, utterly destroying the men, women, and children of every city. But all the cattle, and the spoil of the cities we took for a prey to ourselves. And we took at that time out of the hand of the 2 kings of the Emori the land that was on this side Yarden, from the river of Arnon unto the Mount Hermon, which Hermon the Sidoni called Shiron, and the Emori call it Shinir. All the cities of the plain, and all Gilad, and all Bashan, unto Salcah, and unto Edrei, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bashan. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of Rapha. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbah of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man. And this land which we possessed at that time from Aroer, which is by the river Arnon, and half Mount Gilad, and the cities thereof, gave I unto the Reubeni, and unto the Gadi. And the rest of Gilad, and all Bashan, being the kingdom of Og, gave I unto the half tribe of Manasseh, all the region of Argob, with all Bashan, which was called the land of Rapha. Yair, the son of Manasseh, took all the country of Argob unto the coast of Geshuri, and the Maa'akathi, and called them after his own name, Bashan Ha'uoth Yair, unto this day. And I gave Gilad unto Machir. And unto the Reubeni, and unto the Gadi, I gave from Gilad, even unto the river Arnon, half the valley, and the border even unto the river Yabok, which is the border of the children of Ammon. The plain also, and Yarden, and the coast thereof, from Kinneroth, even unto the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, under Ashdoth Pisgah, eastward. And I command you at that time, saying, Yahuah your Elohim has given you this land to possess it. Ye shall pass over armed before your brethren, the children of Yasharel, all that are meet for the war. But your wives and your little ones and your cattle, for I know that you have much cattle, shall abide in your cities which I have given you, until Yahuah have given rest unto your brethren as well as unto you, and until they also possess the land which Yahuah your Elohim has given them beyond Yarden. And then shall you return every man unto his possession which I have given you. And I commanded Yahusha at that time, saying, Your eyes have seen all that Yahuah your Elohim has done unto these 2 kings. So shall Yahuah do unto all the kingdoms whither you pass. You shall not fear them, for Yahuah your Elohim, he shall fight for you. And I besought Yahuah at that time, saying, O Adonai Yahuah, you have begun to show your servant your greatness and your mighty hand. For what else is there in heaven or in earth that can do according to your works, and according to your might? I pray you, let me go over and see the good land that is beyond Yarden, that goodly mountain, and Lebanon. But Yahuah was wroth with me for your sakes, and would not hear me. And Yahuah said unto me, Let it suffice you, speak no more unto me of this matter. Get you up into the top of Pisgah, and lift up your eyes westward, and northward, and southward, and eastward, and behold it with your eyes, for you shall not go over this Yarden. But charge Yahusha, and encourage him, and strengthen him, for he shall go over before this people, and he shall cause them to inherit the land which you shall see. So we abode in the valley over against Beth Peor. Chapter 4. Now, therefore, hear, O Yasharel, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that you may live and go in and possess the land which Yahuah Elohim of your fathers gives you. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahuah did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, Yahuah your Elohim has destroyed them from among you. But you that did cleave unto Yahuah your Elohim are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahuah my Elohim commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it, Keep therefore and do them. For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, Surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who has Elohim so nigh unto them, as Yahuah our Elohim is in all things which we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great, that has statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law which I set before you this day? Only take heed to yourselves, and keep your soul diligently, lest you forget the things which your eyes have seen, and lest they depart from your heart all the days of your life. But teach them your sons and your sons' sons, especially the day that you stood before Yahuah your Elohim at Horeb, when Yahuah said unto me, Gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they shall live upon the earth, and that they may teach their children. And you came near and stood under the mountain. And the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. And Yahuah spoke unto you out of the midst of the fire. You heard the voice of the words, but saw no similitude. Only you heard a voice. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments, and he wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. And Yahuah commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that you might do them in the land whither you go over to possess it. Take you therefore good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahuah spoke unto you at Horeb in the midst of the fire, lest you corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. And lest you lift up your eyes unto heaven, and when you see the sun, and the moon, and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahuah your Elohim has divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. But Yahuah has taken you, and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Mitzrayim, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as you are this day. Furthermore, Yahuah was angry with me for your sakes, and swore that I should not go over Yarden, and that I should not go in unto that good land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance. But I must die in this land. I must not go over Yarden, but you shall go over and possess that good land. Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yahuah your Elohim, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, or the likeness of anything which Yahuah your Elohim has forbidden you. For Yahuah your Elohim is a consuming fire, even a jealous El. When you shall beget children and children's children, and you shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of Yahuah your Elohim, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto you go over Yarden to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And Yahuah shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither Yahuah shall lead you. And there you shall serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. But if from thence you shall seek Yahuah your Elohim, you shall find him, if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. When you are in tribulation, and all these things are come upon you, even in the latter days, if you turn to Yahuah your Elohim, and shall be obedient unto his voice, for Yahuah your Elohim is a merciful El, he will not forsake you, neither destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers which he swore unto them. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before you, since the day that Elohim created man upon the earth, and ask from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there hath been any such thing as this great thing is, or has been heard like it. Did ever people hear the voice of Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire as you have heard, and live? Or has Elohim essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation, by temptations, by signs, and by wonders, and by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that Yahuah your Elohim did for you in Mitzrayim before your eyes? Unto you it was showed, that you might know that Yahuah, he is Elohim, there is none else beside him. Out of heaven he made you hear his voice, that he might instruct you, and upon earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words out of the midst of the fire. And because he loved your fathers, and therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought you out in his sight with his mighty power out of Mitzrayim, to drive out nations from before you greater and mightier than you are, to bring you in, to give you their land for an inheritance as it is this day. Know therefore this day, and consider it in your heart, that Yahuah, he is Elohim, in heaven above, and upon the earth beneath, there is none else. You shall keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command you this day, that it may go well with you, and with your children after you, and that you may prolong your days upon the earth, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you forever. Then Moshe severed 3 cities on this side Yarden toward the sunrising, that the slayer might flee thither, which should kill his neighbor unawares, and hated him not in times past, and that fleeing unto one of these cities he might live, namely, Betzer in the wilderness, in the plain country of the Reubeni, and Ramoth in Gilad of the Gadii, and Golan in Bashan of the Manasseh. And this is the law which Moshe set before the children of Yasharel. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moshe spoke unto the children of Yasharel after they came forth out of Mitzrayim. On this side Yarden, in the valley over against Beth Peor, in the land of Sihon, king of the Amori, who dwelt in Heshbon, whom Moshe and the children of Yasharel smote after they were come forth out of Mitzrayim. And they possessed his land, and the land of Og, king of Bashan, 2 kings of the Amori, which were on this side Yarden toward the sunrising. From Aroer, which is by the bank of the river Arnon, even unto Mount Sion, which is in Hermon, and all the plain on this side Yarden eastward, even unto the sea of the plain, under the springs of Pisgah. Chapter 5. And Moshe called all Yasharel, and said unto them, Hear, O Yasharel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that you may learn them, and keep them, and do them. And Yahuah our Elohim made a covenant with us in Horeb. Yahuah made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. Yahuah talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. I stood between Yahuah and you at that time to show you the word of Yahuah, for you were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mount, saying, I am Yahuah, your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make you any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. You shall not bow down yourself unto them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuah, your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of Yahuah your Elohim in vain, for Yahuah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. Keep the Shabbath day to sanctify it, as Yahuah your Elohim has commanded you. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Shabbath of Yahuah your Elohim. In it you shall not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your ox, nor your ass, nor any of your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates, that your manservant and your maidservant may rest as well as you. And remember that you were a servant in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yahuah your Elohim brought you out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahuah your Elohim commanded you to keep the Shabbath day. Honor your father and your mother, as Yahuah your Elohim has commanded you, that your days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with you in the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you. You shall not kill. Neither shall you commit adultery, neither shall you steal, neither shall you bear false witness against your neighbor, neither shall you desire your neighbor's wife, neither shall you covet your neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is your neighbor's. These words Yahuah spoke unto all your assembly in the mount out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness, with a great voice. And he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone, and delivered them unto me. And it came to pass, when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for the mountain did burn with fire, that you came near unto me, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders. And you said, Behold, Yahuah our Elohim has showed us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that Elohim does talk with man, and he lives. Now therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of Yahuah our Elohim any more, then we shall die. For who is there of all flesh that has heard the voice of the living Elohim speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we have, and lived? Go you near, and hear all that Yahuah our Elohim shall say, and speak you unto us all that Yahuah our Elohim shall speak unto you, and we will hear it, and do it. And Yahuah heard the voice of your words when you spoke unto me. And Yahuah said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken unto you. They have well said all that they have spoken. Oh, that there were such an heart in them, that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever. Go say to them, Get you into your tents again. But as for you, stand you here by me, and I will speak unto you all the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which you shall teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess it. Ye shall observe to do therefore as Yahuah your Elohim has commanded you. Ye shall not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. You shall walk in all the ways which Yahuah your Elohim has commanded you, that you may live, and that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days in the land which you shall possess. Chapter 6. Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which Yahuah your Elohim commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land whither you go to possess it, that you might fear Yahuah your Elohim, to keep all his statutes and his commandments which I command you, you and your son, and your son's sons, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Yasharel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuah Elohim of your fathers hath promised you, in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Yasharel, Yahuah our Elohim is one Yahuah, and you shall love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And it shall be, when Yahuah your Elohim shall have brought you into the land which he swore unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Jacob, to give you great and goodly cities which you built not, and houses full of all good things which you filled not, and wells dug which you dug not, and vineyards and olive trees which you planted not, when you shall have eaten and be full, then beware lest you forget Yahuah, which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim from the house of bondage. You shall fear Yahuah your Elohim, and serve him, and shall swear by his name. You shall not go after other gods, of the gods of the people which are round about you. For Yahuah your Elohim is a jealous El among you, lest the anger of Yahuah your Elohim be kindled against you and destroy you from the face of the earth. You shall not tempt Yahuah your Elohim as you tempted him in Massah. You shall diligently keep the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim, and his testimonies and his statutes which he has commanded you. And you shall do that which is right and good in the sight of Yahuah, that it may be well with you, and that you may go in and possess the good land which Yahuah swore unto your fathers, to cast out all your enemies from before you, as Yahuah has spoken. And when your son ask you in time to come, saying, What mean the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Yahuah our Elohim has commanded you? Then you shall say unto your son, We were Pharaoh's bondmen in Mitzrayim, and Yahuah brought us out of Mitzrayim with a mighty hand. And Yahuah showed signs and wonders, great and sore, upon Mitzrayim, and upon Pharaoh, and upon all his household before our eyes. And he brought us out from thence, that he might bring us in, to give us the land which he swore unto our fathers. And Yahuah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuah our Elohim, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, as it is at this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuah our Elohim, as he has commanded us. Chapter 7. When Yahuah your Elohim shall bring you into the land whither you go to possess it, and has cast out many nations before you, the Hittite, and the Girgashi, and the Emori, and the Canaanite, and the Perizzite, and the Hiwi, and the Yebusi, 7 nations greater and mightier than you, and when Yahuah your Elohim shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son. For they will turn away your son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahuah be kindled against you, and destroy you suddenly. But thus you shall deal with them. You shall destroy their altars, and break down their images, and cut down their Asherah, and burn their graven images with fire. For you are a holy people unto Yahuah your Elohim. Yahuah your Elohim has chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahuah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahuah loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, has Yahuah brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Mitzrayim. Know therefore that Yahuah your Elohim, he is Elohim, the faithful El, which keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. And repay them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hates him, he will repay him to his face. You shall therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command you this day to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if you hearken to these judgments, and keep and do them, that Yahuah your Elohim shall keep you unto the covenant and the mercy which he swore unto your fathers. And he will love you, and bless you, and multiply you. He will also bless the fruit of your womb, and the fruit of your land, your corn, and your wine, and your oil, the increase of your kine, and the flocks of your sheep, in the land which he swore unto your fathers to give you. You shall be blessed above all people. There shall not be male or female barren among you, or among your cattle. And Yahuah will take away from you all sickness, and will put none of the evil diseases of Mitzrayim, which you know, upon you, but will lay them upon all them that hate you. And you shall consume all the people which Yahuah your Elohim shall deliver you. Your eye shall have no pity upon them, neither shall you serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto you. If you shall say in your heart, These nations are more than I, how can I dispossess them? You shall not be afraid of them, but shall well remember what Yahuah your Elohim did unto Pharaoh and unto all Mitzrayim, the great temptations which your eyes saw, and the signs and the wonders, and the mighty hand, and the stretched out arm, whereby Yahuah your Elohim brought you out, so shall Yahuah your Elohim do unto all the people of whom you are afraid. Moreover, Yahuah your Elohim will send the hornet among them, until they that are left and hide themselves from you be destroyed. You shall not be affrighted at them, for Yahuah your Elohim is among you, a mighty El and terrible. And Yahuah your Elohim will put out those nations before you by little and little. You may not consume them at once, lest the beasts of the field increase upon you. But Yahuah your Elohim shall deliver them unto you, and shall destroy them with a mighty destruction until they be destroyed. And he shall deliver their kings into your hand, and you shall destroy their name from under heaven. There shall be no man be able to stand before you until you have destroyed them. The graven images of their gods shall you burn with fire. You shall not desire the silver or gold that is on them, nor take it unto you, lest you be snared therein, for it is an abomination to Yahuah your Elohim. Neither shall you bring an abomination into your house, lest you be a cursed thing like it, but you shall utterly detest it, and you shall utterly abhor it, for it is a cursed thing. Chapter 8. All the commandments which I command you this day shall you observe to do, that you may live and multiply, and go in and possess the land which Yahuah swore unto your fathers. And you shall remember all the way which Yahuah your Elohim led you these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you, and to prove you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or no. And he humbled you, and suffered you to hunger, and fed you with man, which you knew not, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahuah does man live. Your raiment waxed not old upon you, neither did your foot swell these 40 years. You shall also consider in your heart that, as a man chastens his son, so Yahuah your Elohim chastens you. Therefore you shall keep the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For Yahuah your Elohim brings you into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey, a land wherein you shall eat bread without scarceness. You shall not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you may dig brass. When you have eaten and art full, then you shall bless Yahuah your Elohim for the good land which he has given you. Beware that you forget not Yahuah your Elohim in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command you this day, lest when you have eaten and are full, and have built goodly houses and dwelt therein, and when your herds and your flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold is multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, then your hearts be lifted up, and you forget Yahuah your Elohim, which brought you forth out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage, who led you through that great and terrible wilderness, wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions and drought, where there was no water, who brought you forth water out of the rock of flint, who fed you in the wilderness with man, which your fathers knew not, that he might humble you, and that he might prove you, to do you good at your latter end. And you say in your heart, My power and the might of mine hand has gotten me this wealth. But ye shall remember Yahuah your Elohim, for it is he that gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he swore unto your fathers, as it is this day. And it shall be, if you do at all forget Yahuah your Elohim, and walk after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I testify against you this day that you shall surely perish. As the nations which Yahuah destroys before your face, so shall you perish, because you would not be obedient unto the voice of Yahuah your Elohim. Chapter 9. Hear, O Yasharel, You are to pass over Yarden this day, to go in to possess nations greater and mightier than yourself, cities great and fenced up to heaven, a people great and tall, the children of the Anaki, whom you know, and of whom you have heard say, Who can stand before the children of Anak? Understand therefore this day that Yahuah your Elohim is he which goes over before you. As a consuming fire he shall destroy them, and he shall bring them down before your face. So shall you drive them out, and destroy them quickly, as Yahuah has said unto you. Speak not in your heart, after that Yahuah your Elohim has cast them out from before you, saying, For my righteousness Yahuah has brought me in to possess this land. But for the wickedness of these nations Yahuah does drive them out from before you. Not for your righteousness, or for the uprightness of your heart, do you go to possess their land. But for the wickedness of these nations Yahuah your Elohim does drive them out from before you, and that he may perform the word which Yahuah swore to your fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Understand, therefore, that Yahuah your Elohim gives you not this good land to possess it for your righteousness, for you are a stiff-necked people. Remember, and forget not how you provoked Yahuah your Elohim to wrath in the wilderness, from the day that you did depart out of the land of Mitzrayim until you came unto this place. You have been rebellious against Yahuah. Also, in Horeb you provoked Yahuah to wrath, so that Yahuah was angry with you to have destroyed you. When I was gone up into the mount to receive the tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant which Yahuah made with you, then I abode in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. I neither did eat bread nor drink water. And Yahuah delivered unto me 2 tables of stone written with the finger of Elohim, and on them was written, according to all the words which Yahuah spoke with you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And it came to pass at the end of 40 days and 40 nights that Yahuah gave me the 2 tablets of stone, even the tables of the covenant. And Yahuah said unto me, Arise, get you down quickly from hence, for your people which you have brought forth out of Mitzrayim have corrupted themselves. They are quickly turned aside out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten image. Furthermore, Yahuah spoke unto me, saying, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Let me alone, that I may destroy them, and blot out their name from under heaven, and I will make of you a nation mightier and greater than they. So I turned and came down from the mount, and the mount burned with fire, and the 2 tables of the covenant were in my 2 hands. And I looked, and behold, ye had sinned against Yahuah your Elohim, and had made you a molten calf. You had turned aside quickly out of the way which Yahuah had commanded you. And I took the 2 tables, and I cast them out of my 2 hands, and brake them before your eyes. And I fell down before Yahuah, as at the first 40 days and 40 nights. I did neither eat bread nor drink water, because of all your sins which you sinned in doing wickedly in the sight of Yahuah, to provoke him to anger. For I was afraid of the anger and hot displeasure wherewith Yahuah was wroth against you to destroy you. But Yahuah hearkened unto me at that time also. And Yahuah was very angry with Aharon to have destroyed him, and I prayed for Aharon also the same time. And I took your sin, the calf which you had made, and burnt it with fire, and stamped it, and ground it very small, even until it was as small as dust. And I cast the dust thereof into the brook that descended out of the mount. And at Dabar, and at Massah, and at Kibroth Hatta-awah, you provoked Yahuah to wrath. Likewise, when Yahuah sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, Go up and possess the land which I have given you, then you rebelled against the commandment of Yahuah your Elohim, and you believed him not, nor hearkened to his voice. You have been rebellious against Yahuah from the day that I knew you. Thus I fell down before Yahuah 40 days and 40 nights, as I fell down at first, because Yahuah had said he would destroy you. I prayed therefore unto Yahuah, and said, O Adonai Yahuah, destroy not your people and your inheritance, which you have redeemed through your greatness, which you have brought forth out of Mitzrayim with a mighty hand. Remember your servants Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob. Look not unto the stubbornness of this people, nor their wickedness, nor to their sin. Let the land whence you brought us out say, because Yahuah was not able to bring them into the land which he promised them, and because he hated them, he has brought them out to slay them in the wilderness. Yet they are your people and your inheritance, which you brought out by your mighty power and by your stretched out arm. Chapter 10. At that time Yahuah said unto me, Hew you 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mount, and make you an ark of wood. And I will write on the tablets the words that were in the first tables which you broke, and ye shall put them in the ark. And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in mine hand. And he wrote on the tables, according to the first writing, the 10 commandments, which Yahuah spoke unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And Yahuah gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be, as Yahuah commanded me. And the children of Yasharel took their journey from Be'eroth of the children of Ya'akan to Moserah. There Aharon died, and there he was buried. And Eleazar his son ministered in the Kohen's office in his stead. From thence they journeyed unto Gudgodah, and from Gudgodah to Yotbathah, a land of rivers of waters. At that time Yahuah separated the tribe of Leui to bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuah, to stand before Yahuah to minister unto him, and to bless in his name unto this day. Therefore Leui has no part nor inheritance with his brethren. Yahuah is his inheritance, according as Yahuah your Elohim promised him. And I stayed in the mount according to the first time 40 days and 40 nights. And Yahuah hearkened unto me at that time also, and Yahuah would not destroy you. And Yahuah said unto me, Arise, take your journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land, which I swore unto their fathers to give unto them. And now, Yasharel, what does Yahuah your Elohim require of you, but to fear Yahuah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul, to keep the commandments of Yahuah and his statutes which I command you this day for your good? Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is Yahuah's, your Elohim, the earth also, with all that therein is. Only Yahuah had a delight in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For Yahuah your Elohim is Elohim of gods, and Adon of lords, a great El, a mighty and a terrible, which regards not persons, nor takes reward. He does execute the judgment of the fatherless and widow, and loves the stranger in giving him food and raiment. Love you therefore the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Mitzrayim. You shall fear Yahuah your Elohim. Him shall you serve, and to him shall you cleave, and swear by his name. He is your praise, and he is your Elohim, that has done for you these great and terrible things which your eyes have seen. Your fathers went down into Mitzrayim with 70 persons, and now Yahuah your Elohim has made you as the stars of the heaven for multitude. Chapter 11. Therefore you shall love Yahuah your Elohim, and keep his charge, and his statutes, and his judgments, and his commandments always. And know you this day, for I speak not with your children which have not known, and which have not seen the chastisement of Yahuah your Elohim, his greatness, his mighty hand, and his stretched out arm, and his miracles, and his acts, which he did in the midst of Mitzrayim unto Pharaoh, the king of Mitzrayim, and unto all his land. And what he did unto the army of Mitzrayim, unto their horses, and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued after you, and how Yahuah has destroyed them unto this day. And what he did unto you in the wilderness, until you came into this place. and what he did unto Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their households, and their tents, and all the substance that was in their possession, in the midst of all Yasharel. But your eyes have seen all the great acts of Yahuah which he did. Therefore shall you keep all the commandments which I command you this day, that you may be strong, and go in and possess the land, whither you go to possess it, and that you may prolong your days in the land, which Yahuah swore unto your fathers to give unto them and to their seed, a land that flows with milk and honey. For the land whither you go in to possess it is not as the land of Mitzrayim, from whence you came out, where you sowed your seed and watered it with your foot as a garden of herbs. But the land whither you go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drinks water of the rain of heaven. A land which Yahuah your Elohim cares for. The eyes of Yahuah your Elohim are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even unto the end of the year. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto my commandments which I command you this day, to love Yahuah your Elohim, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your corn and your wine and your oil. And I will send grass in your fields for your cattle, that you may eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves that your heart be not deceived, and you turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. And then Yahuah's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, and lest you perish quickly from off the good land which Yahuah gives you. Therefore shall you lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall teach them to your children, speaking of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall write them upon the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, that your days may be multiplied, and the days of your children in the land which Yahuah swore unto your fathers to give them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. For you shall diligently keep all these commandments which I command you, to do them, to love Yahuah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to cleave unto him. Then will Yahuah drive out all these nations from before you, and ye shall possess greater nations and mightier than yourselves. Every place whereon the soles of your feet shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Pereth, even unto the uttermost sea shall your coast be. There shall no man be able to stand before you, for Yahuah your Elohim shall lay the fear of you and the dread of you upon all the land that you shall tread upon, as he has said unto you. Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you obey the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim, which I command you this day, and a curse if you will not obey the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day, to go after other gods which you have not known. And it shall come to pass, when Yahuah your Elohim has brought you in unto the land whither you go to possess it, that ye shall put the blessing upon Mount Gerizim, and the curse upon Mount Ebal. Are they not on the other side Yarden, by the way where the sun goes down, in the land of the Canaani, which dwell in the champaign over against Gilgal, beside the plain of Moreh? For you shall pass over Yarden, to go in to possess the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, and you shall possess it, and dwell therein. And you shall observe to do all the statutes and judgments which I set before you this day. Chapter 12. These are the statutes and judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land, which Yahuah Elohim of your fathers gives you to possess it, all the days that you live upon the earth. You shall utterly destroy all the places wherein the nations which you shall possess serve their gods, upon the high mountains, and upon the hills, and under every green tree. And you shall overthrow their altars, and break their pillars, and burn their Asherah with fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods, and destroy the names of them out of that place. You shall not do so unto Yahuah your Elohim. But unto the place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose out of all your tribes to put his name there, even unto his habitation shall you seek, and thither you shall come. And thither you shall bring your burnt offerings, and your sacrifices, and your tithes, and your heave offerings of your hand, and your vows, and your free will offerings, and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks. And there you shall eat before Yahuah your Elohim, and you shall rejoice in all that you put your hand unto, you and your households, wherein Yahuah your Elohim has blessed you. You shall not do after all the things that we do here this day, every man whatsoever is right in his own eyes. For you are not as yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which Yahuah your Elohim gives you. But when you go over Yarden and dwell in the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you to inherit, and when he gives you rest from all your enemies round about, so that you dwell in safety, then there shall be a place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose to cause his name to dwell there. Thither shall you bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings and your sacrifices, your tithes, and the heave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow unto Yahuah. And ye shall rejoice before Yahuah your Elohim, you and your sons and your daughters and your menservants and your maidservants, and the Leui that is within your gates, forasmuch as he has no part nor inheritance with you. Take heed to yourselves that you offer not your burnt offerings in every place that you see, but in the place which Yahuah shall choose in one of your tribes, there you shall offer your burnt offerings, and there you shall do all that I command you. Notwithstanding, you may kill and eat flesh in all your gates, whatsoever your soul lusts after, according to the blessings of Yahuah your Elohim, which he has given you. The unclean and the clean may eat thereof, as of the roebuck and as of the hart. Only you shall not eat the blood. You shall pour it upon the earth as water. You may not eat within your gates the tithe of your corn, or of your wine, or of your oil, or the firstlings of your herds, or of your flock, nor any of your vows which you vow, nor your free will offerings, or heave offering of your hand. But you must eat them before Yahuah your Elohim, in the place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose, you and your son, and your daughter, and your manservant, and your maidservant, and the Leui that is within your gates. And ye shall rejoice before Yahuah your Elohim, in all that you put your hands unto. Take heed to yourself, that you forsake not the Leui, as long as you live upon the earth. When Yahuah your Elohim shall enlarge your border as he has promised you, and you shall say, I will eat flesh, because your soul longs to eat flesh, you may eat flesh, whatsoever your soul lusts after. If the place which Yahuah your Elohim has chosen to put his name there be too far from you, then you shall kill of your herd and of your flock which Yahuah has given you, as I have commanded you, and you shall eat in your gates whatsoever your soul lusts after. Even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so you shall eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. Only be sure that you eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and you may not eat the life with the flesh. Ye shall not eat it, you shall pour it upon the earth as water. You shall not eat it, that it may go well with you, and with your children after you, when you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahuah. Only your holy things which you have, and your vows, you shall take, and go unto the place which Yahuah shall choose. And you shall offer your burnt offerings, the flesh and the blood, upon the altar of Yahuah your Elohim, and the blood of your sacrifices shall be poured out upon the altar of Yahuah your Elohim, and you shall eat the flesh. Observe and hear all these words which I command you, that it may go well with you and with your children after you forever, when you do that which is good and right in the sight of Yahuah your Elohim. When Yahuah your Elohim shall cut off the nations from before you, whither you go to possess them, and you succeed them, and dwell in their land, take heed to yourselves that you be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before you, and that you inquire not after their gods, saying, How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. You shall not do so unto Yahuah your Elohim. For every abomination to Yahuah which he hates have they done unto their gods, for even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. You shall not add thereto, nor diminish from it. Chapter 13. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, whereof he spoke unto you, saying, Let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them, you shall not hearken unto the words of that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahuah your Elohim proves you to know whether you love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after Yahuah your Elohim, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him, and cleave unto him. And that prophet, or that dreamer of dreams, shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn you away from Yahuah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust you out of the way which Yahuah your Elohim commanded you to walk in. So shall you put the evil away from the midst of you. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul, entice you secretly, saying, Let us go and serve other gods, which you have not known, you nor your fathers, namely of the gods of the people which are round about you, nigh unto you, or far off from you, from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Ye shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him. But ye shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And ye shall stone him with stones that he die, because he has sought to thrust you away from Yahuah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of bondage. And all Yasharel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you. If you shall hear say in one of your cities which Yahuah your Elohim has given you to dwell there, saying, Certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their cities, saying, Let us go and serve other gods which you have not known. Then shall you inquire, and make search, and ask diligently. And behold, if it be truth, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought among you, you shall surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein, and the cattle thereof, with the edge of the sword. And ye shall gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the street thereof, and shall burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof, every whit, for Yahuah your Elohim. And it shall be a heap forever, it shall not be built again. And there shall cleave naught of the cursed thing to your hand, that Yahuah may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show you mercy, and have compassion upon you, and multiply you, as he has sworn unto your fathers. When you shall hearken to the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, to keep all his commandments which I command you this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of Yahuah your Elohim. Chapter 14. You are the children of Yahuah your Elohim. Ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For you are a holy people unto Yahuah your Elohim, and Yahuah has chosen you to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth. Ye shall not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which you shall eat, the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pygarg, and the wild ox, and the chamois, and every beast that parts the hoof, and cleaveth the cleft into two claws, and chews the cud among the beasts, that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, these you shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel, and the hare, and the coney, for they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean unto you. And the swine, because it divides the hoof, yet chews not the cud, it is unclean unto you. You shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These you shall eat of all that are in the waters. All that have fins and scales shall you eat. And whatsoever has not fins and scales you may not eat, it is unclean unto you. Of all clean birds you shall eat, but these are they of which you shall not eat, the eagle, and the ossifrage, and the osprey, and the glede, and the kite, and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, the little owl, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gier eagle, and the cormorant, and the stork, and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat, and every creeping thing that flies is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten. But of all clean fowls you may eat. You shall not eat of anything that dies of itself. You shall give it unto the stranger that is in your gates, that he may eat it. Or you may sell it unto an alien, for you are an holy people unto Yahuah your Elohim. You shall not see the kid in his mother's milk. You shall truly tithe all the increase of your seed, that the fields bring forth year by year. And ye shall eat before Yahuah your Elohim in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, the tithe of your corn, of your wine, and of your oil, and the firstlings of your herds and of your flocks, that you may learn to fear Yahuah your Elohim always. And if the way be too long for you, so that you are not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from you, which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose to set his name there, when Yahuah your Elohim has blessed you, then shall you turn it into money, and bind up the money in your hand, and shall go unto the place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose. And you shall bestow that money for whatsoever your soul lusts after, for oxen, for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever your soul desires. And you shall eat there before Yahuah your Elohim, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. And the Leuah that is within your gates, you shall not forsake him, for he has no part or inheritance with you. At the end of 3 years you shall bring forth all the tithe of your increase the same year, and shall lay it up within your gates. And the Leuah, because he has no part nor inheritance with you, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within your gates, shall come, and shall eat and be satisfied, that Yahuah your Elohim may bless you in all the work of your hand which you do. Chapter 15. At the end of every 7 years you shall make a release, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lends aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor, or of his brother, because it is called Yahuah's release. Of a foreigner you may exact it again, but that which is your with your brother your hand shall release, save when there shall be no poor among you, for Yahuah shall greatly bless you in the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance to possess it. Only if you carefully hearken unto the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, to observe to do all these commandments which I command you this day. For Yahuah your Elohim blesses you, as he promised you, and ye shall lend unto many nations, but you shall not borrow, and ye shall reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over you. If there be among you a poor man of one of your brethren within any of your gates in your land, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, ye shall not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from your poor brother. But ye shall open your hand wide unto him, and shall surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wants. Beware that there be not a thought in your wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and your eye be evil against your poor brother, and you give him not, and he cry unto Yahuah against you, and it be sin unto you. You shall surely give him, and your heart shall not be grieved when you give unto him, because that for this thing Yahuah your Elohim shall bless you in all your works, and in all that you put your hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall open your hand wide unto your brother, to your poor, and to your needy in your land. And if your brother, an Ibri man or an Ibri woman, be sold unto you, and serve you 6 years, then in the 7th year you shall let him go free from you. And when you send him out free from you, you shall not let him go away empty. You shall furnish him liberally out of your flock, and out of your floor, and out of your winepress. Of that wherewith Yahuah your Elohim has blessed you, you shall give unto him. And you shall remember that you were a bondman in the land of Mitzrayim, and Yahuah your Elohim redeemed you. Therefore I command you this thing today. And it shall be, if he say unto you, I will not go away from you, because he loves you and your house, because he is well with you, then you shall take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be your servant forever, and also unto your maidservant ye shall do likewise. It shall not seem hard unto you when you send him away free from you, for he has been worth a double hired servant to you, in serving you 6 years. And Yahuah your Elohim shall bless you in all that you do. All the firstling males that come of your herd and of your flock ye shall sanctify unto Yahuah your Elohim. Ye shall do no work with the firstling of your bullock, nor shear the firstling of your sheep. Ye shall eat it before Yahuah your Elohim, year by year, in the place which Yahuah shall choose, you and your household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind, or have any ill blemish, ye shall not sacrifice it unto Yahuah your Elohim. Ye shall eat it within your gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck and as the hart. Only you shall not eat the blood thereof. Ye shall pour it upon the ground as water. Chapter 16. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Pesach unto Yahuah your Elohim, for in the month of Abib Yahuah your Elohim brought you forth out of Mitzrayim by night. You shall therefore sacrifice the Pesach unto Yahuah your Elohim of the flock and the herd, in the place which Yahuah shall choose to place his name there. You shall eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shall you eat matzah therewith, even the bread of affliction. For you came forth out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste, that you may remember the day when you came forth out of the land of Mitzrayim all the days of your life. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with you in all your coast 7 days. Neither shall there anything of the flesh, which you sacrificed the first day at even, remain all night until the morning. You may not sacrifice the Pesach within any of your gates, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you. But at the place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose to place his name in, there you shall sacrifice the Pesach at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that you came forth out of Mitzrayim. And you shall roast and eat it in the place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose. And you shall turn in the morning and go unto your tents. 6 days you shall eat matzah, and on the 7th day shall be a solemn assembly to Yahuah your Elohim. You shall do no work therein. 7 weeks shall you number unto you. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as you begin to put the sickle to the corn. And you shall keep the feast of weeks unto Yahuah your Elohim, with the tribute of a free will offering of your hand, which you shall give unto Yahuah your Elohim, according as Yahuah your Elohim has blessed you. And you shall rejoice before Yahuah your Elohim, you and your son, and your daughter, and your manservant, and your maidservant, and the Leui that is within your gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which Yahuah your Elohim has chosen to place his name there. And you shall remember that you were a bondman in Mitzrayim, and you shall observe and do these statutes. You shall observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. After that you have gathered in your corn and your wine. And you shall rejoice in your feast, you and your son, and your daughter, and your manservant, and your maidservant, and the Leui, the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are within your gates. 7 days shall you keep a solemn feast unto Yahuah your Elohim, in the place which Yahuah shall choose, because Yahuah your Elohim shall bless you in all your increase, and in all the works of your hands. Therefore you shall surely rejoice. 3 times in a year shall all your males appear before Yahuah your Elohim, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of Matzah, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles. And they shall not appear before Yahuah empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessings of Yahuah your Elohim, which he has given you. Judges and officers shall you make you in all your gates, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, throughout your tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. You shall not wrest judgment. You shall not respect persons, neither take a gift, for a gift does blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shall you follow, that you may live, and inherit the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you. You shall not plant you an Asherah of any trees near the altar of Yahuah your Elohim, which you shall make. Neither shall you set up any image which Yahuah your Elohim hates. Chapter 17. You shall not sacrifice unto Yahuah your Elohim any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto Yahuah your Elohim. If there be found among you, within any of your gates which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, man or woman, that has wrought wickedness in the sight of Yahuah your Elohim, in transgressing his covenant, and has gone and served other gods and worshipped them, either the sun or moon or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told you, and you have heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Yasharel, then you shall bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto your gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death, but at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people. So you shall put the evil away from among you. If there arise a matter too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within your gates, then you shall arise and get you up into the place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose. And you shall come unto the Kohanes, the Leui, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show you the sentence of judgment. And ye shall do according to the sentence which they of that place which Yahuah shall choose shall show you, and you shall observe to do according to all that they inform you. According to the sentence of the law which they shall teach you, and according to the judgment which they shall tell you, you shall do. You shall not decline from the sentence which they shall show you, to the right hand, nor to the left. And the man that will do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the Kohen that stands to minister there before Yahuah your Elohim, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and you shall put away the evil from Yasharel. And all the people shall hear, and fear, and do no more presumptuously. When you are come unto the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me, you shall in any wise set him a king over you, whom Yahuah your Elohim shall choose. One from among your brethren shall you set king over you. You may not set a stranger over you, which is not your brother. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Mitzrayim, to the end that he should multiply horses. Forasmuch as Yahuah has said unto you, you shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sits upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the Kohen, the Leui. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear Yahuah his Elohim, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment, to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children, in the midst of Yasharel. Chapter 18. The Kohen, the Leui, and all the tribe of Leui shall have no part or inheritance with Yasharel. They shall eat the offerings of Yahuah made by fire, and his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. Yahuah is their inheritance, as he has said unto them. And this shall be the Kohen's due from the people, from them that offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep, and they shall give unto the Kohen the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks, and the maw. The first fruit also of your corn, of your wine, and of your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep shall you give him. For Yahuah your Elohim has chosen him out of all your tribes, to stand to minister in the name of Yahuah, him and his sons forever. And if a Leui come from any of your gates out of all Yasharel, where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place which Yahuah shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of Yahuah his Elohim, as all his brethren of the Leui do, which stand there before Yahuah. They shall have like portions to eat, besides that which come of the sale of his patrimony. When you are come into the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you any one that makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that uses divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto Yahuah. And because of these abominations, Yahuah your Elohim does drive them out from before you. You shall be perfect with Yahuah your Elohim. For these nations which you shall possess hearkened unto observers of times, and unto diviners. But as for you, Yahuah your Elohim has not suffered you to do so. Yahuah your Elohim will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren like unto me. Unto him shall you hearken. According to all that you desired of Yahuah your Elohim in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear again the voice of Yahuah my Elohim, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And Yahuah said unto me, They have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet, which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if ye say in your heart, How shall we know the word which Yahuah has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of Yahuah, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which Yahuah has not spoken. But the prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him. Chapter 19. When Yahuah your Elohim has cut off the nations, whose land Yahuah your Elohim gives you, and you succeed them, and dwell in their cities and in their houses, you shall separate 3 cities for you in the midst of your land, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you to possess it. You shall prepare you a way, and divide the coasts of your land, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you to inherit, into 3 parts, that every slayer may flee thither. And this is the case of the slayer, which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso kills his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hated not in time past, as when a man goes into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetches a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the helve, and lights upon his neighbor that he die. He shall flee unto one of those cities and live. Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer while his heart is hot, and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him, whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in time past. Wherefore I command you, saying, You shall separate 3 cities for you. And if Yahuah your Elohim enlarge your coast, as he has sworn unto your fathers, and give you all the land which he promised to give unto your fathers, if you shall keep all these commandments to do them, which I command you this day, to love Yahuah your Elohim, and to walk ever in his ways, then you shall add 3 cities more for you, beside these 3. That innocent blood be not shed in your land, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance, and so blood be upon you. But if any man hate his neighbor, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally that he die, and flees into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Your eye shall not pity him, But you shall put away the guilt of innocent blood from Yasharel, that it may go well with you. You shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set in your inheritance, which you shall inherit in the land that Yahuah your Elohim gives you to possess it. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin. In any sin that he sins, at the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses, shall the matter be established. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men, between whom the controversy is, shall stand before Yahuah, before the Kohen and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall you do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shall you put the evil away from among you. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And your eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Chapter 20. When you go out to battle against your enemies, and see horses and chariots and people more than you, be not afraid of them. For Yahuah your Elohim is with you, which brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim. And it shall be, when you are come nigh unto battle, that the Kohen shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Yasharel, you approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be you terrified because of them. For Yahuah your Elohim is he that goes with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that has built a new house, and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that has planted a vineyard, and has not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that has betrothed a wife, and has not taken her? Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, What man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. When you come nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make you answer of peace, and open unto you, then it shall be, that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto you, and they shall serve you. And if it will make no peace with you, but will make war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when Yahuah your Elohim has delivered it into your hands, you shall smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones and the cattle, and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shall you take unto yourself, and you shall eat the spoil of your enemies, which Yahuah your Elohim has given you. Thus you shall do unto all the cities which are very far off from you, which are not of the cities of these nations. But of the cities of these people, which Yahuah your Elohim does give you for an inheritance, you shall save alive nothing that breathes, but you shall utterly destroy them, namely the Hitti, and the Emori, and the Canaani, and the Perizzee, the Hiui, and the Yebusi, as Yahuah your Elohim has commanded you, that they teach you not to do after all their abominations which they have done unto their gods, so should ye sin against Yahuah your Elohim. When ye shall besiege a city a long time, in making war against it to take it, ye shall not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them. For you may eat of them, and you shall not cut them down, for the tree of the field is man's life, to employ them in the siege. Only the trees which you know that they be not trees for meat, you shall destroy and cut them down, and you shall build bulwarks against the city that makes war with you until it be subdued. Chapter 21. If one be found slain in the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you to possess it, lying in the field, and it be not known who has slain him, then your elders and your judges shall come forth, and they shall measure unto the cities which are round about him that is slain. And it shall be that the city which is next unto the slain man, even the elders of that city shall take an heifer, which has not been wrought with, and which has not drawn in the yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer unto the rough valley, which is neither eared nor sown, and shall strike off the heifer's neck there in the valley. And the Kohen, the sons of Leui, shall come near, for them Yahuah your Elohim has chosen to minister unto him, and to bless in the name of Yahuah. And by their word shall every controversy and every stroke be tried. And all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Yahuah, unto your people Yasharel, whom you have redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto your people of Yasharel's charge, and the blood shall be forgiven them. So shall you put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you, when you shall do that which is right in the sight of Yahuah. When you go forth to war against your enemies, and Yahuah your Elohim has delivered them into your hands, and you have taken them captive, and see among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that you would have her to your wife, then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head, and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in your house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that you shall go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. And it shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall let her go whither she will, but you shall not sell her at all for money. You shall not make merchandise of her, because you have humbled her. If a man have 2 wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he makes his sons to inherit that which he has, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he has. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and that, when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto him, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shall you put evil away from among you, and all Yasharel shall hear and fear. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but you shall in any wise bury him that day, for he that is hanged is accursed of Elohim, that your land be not defiled, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance. Chapter 22. You shall not see your brother's ox or his sheep go astray, and hide yourself from them. You shall in any case bring them again unto your brother. And if your brother be not nigh unto you, or if you know him not, then you shall bring it unto your own house, and it shall be with you until your brother seek after it, and you shall restore it to him again. In like manner shall you do with his ass, and so shall you do with his raiment, and with all lost things of your brother's, which he has lost, and you have found, shall you do likewise. You may not hide yourself. You shall not see your brother's ass or his ox fall down by the way, and hide yourself from them. You shall surely help him to lift them up again. The woman shall not wear that which pertains unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto Yahuah your Elohim. If a bird's nest chance to be before you in the way, in any tree, or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam sitting upon the young, or upon the eggs, you shall not take the dam with the young, but you shall in any wise let the dam go, and take the young to you, that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days. When you build a new house, then you shall make a battlement for your roof, that you bring not blood upon your house, if any man fall from thence. You shall not sow your vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of your seed which you have sown, and the fruit of your vineyard be defiled. You shall not plow with an ox and an ass together. You shall not wear a garment of diverse sorts, as of woolen and linen together. Ye shall make you fringes upon the 4 quarters of your vesture, wherewith you cover yourself. If any man take a wife, and go in unto her, and hate her, and give occasions of speech against her, and bring up an evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hates her. And lo, he has given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not your daughter a maid. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity, and they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he has brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Yasharel, and she shall be his wife, he may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die, because she has wrought folly in Yasharel, to play the whore in her father's house. So shall you put evil away from among you. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that lay with the woman and the woman. So shall you put away evil from Yasharel. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, and a man find her in the city, and lie with her, then ye shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and ye shall stone them with stones that they die. The damsel, because she cried not, being in the city, and the man, because he has humbled his neighbor's wife. So shall you put away evil from among you. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel you shall do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and slays him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give up unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt. Chapter 23. He that is wounded in the stones, or has his privy member cut off, shall not enter into the congregation of Yahuah. A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of Yahuah. Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of Yahuah. And Ammon or Moab shall not enter into the congregation of Yahuah. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of Yahuah forever. Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way when you came forth out of Mitzrayim, And because they hired against you Balaam the son of Beor of Pethor of Aram Naharaim to curse you, nevertheless Yahuah your Elohim would not hearken unto Balaam, but Yahuah your Elohim turned the curse into a blessing unto you, because Yahuah your Elohim loved you. Ye shall not seek their peace nor their prosperity all your days forever. You shall not abhor an Edom, for he is your brother. You shall not abhor a Mitzri, because you were a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of Yahuah in their third generation. When the host goes forth against your enemies, then keep you from every wicked thing. If there be among you any man that is not clean by reason of uncleanness that chances him by night, then shall he go abroad out of the camp. He shall not come within the camp. But it shall be, when evening comes up, he shall wash himself with water, and when the sun is down, he shall come into the camp again. You shall have a place also without the camp, whither you shall go forth abroad. And you shall have a paddle upon your weapon. And it shall be, when you will defecate abroad, you shall dig therewith, and shall turn back and cover that excrement comes from you. For Yahuah your Elohim walks in the midst of your camp, to deliver you, and give up your enemies before you. Therefore shall your camp be holy, that he see no unclean thing in you, and turn away from you. You shall not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto you. He shall dwell with you, even among you, in that place which he shall choose in one of your gates. Where it likes him best, you shall not oppress him. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Yasharel, nor a male prostitute of the sons of Yasharel. You shall not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of Yahuah your Elohim for any vow. For even both these are abomination unto Yahuah your Elohim. You shall not lend upon usury to your brother, usury of money, usury of victuals, usury of anything that is lent upon usury. Unto a stranger you may lend upon usury, but unto your brother you shall not lend upon usury. That Yahuah your Elohim may bless you in all that you set your hand to in the land whither you go to possess it. When you shall vow a vow unto Yahuah your Elohim, you shall not slack to pay it. For Yahuah your Elohim will surely require it of you, and it would be sin in you. But if you shall forbear to vow, it shall be no sin in you. That which is gone out of your lips you shall keep and perform, even a freewill offering, according as you have vowed unto Yahuah your Elohim, which you have promised with your mouth. When you come into your neighbor's vineyard, then you may eat grapes your fill at your own pleasure, but you shall not put any in your vessel. When you come into the standing corn of your neighbor, then you may pluck the ears with your hand, but ye shall not move a sickle unto your neighbor's standing corn. Chapter 24. When a man has taken a wife and married her, and it come to pass that she find no favor in his eyes, because he has found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement, and give it in her hand, and send her out of his house. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife. And if the latter husband hate her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and gives it in her hand, and sends her out of his house, or if the latter husband die, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife, after that she is defiled. For that is abomination before Yahuah. And ye shall not cause the land to sin, which Yahuah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance. When a man has taken a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer up his wife which he has taken. No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he takes a man's life to pledge. If a man be found stealing any of his brethren of the children of Yasharel, and makes merchandise of him, or sells him, then that thief shall die, and ye shall put evil away from among you. Take heed in the plague of leprosy, that you observe diligently, and do according to all that the Kohen of the Levi shall teach you, as I commanded them, so you shall observe to do. Remember what Yahuah your Elohim did unto Miriam by the way after you were come forth out of Mitzrayim. When you do lend your brother anything, you shall not go into his house to fetch his pledge. You shall stand abroad, and the man to whom you do lend shall bring out the pledge abroad unto you. And if the man be poor, you shall not sleep with his pledge. In any case, you shall deliver him the pledge again when the sun goes down, that he may sleep in his own raiment, and bless you, and it shall be righteousness unto you before Yahuah your Elohim. Ye shall not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of your brethren or of your strangers that are in your land within your gates. At his day ye shall give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor and sets his heart upon it, lest he cry against you unto Yahuah, and it be sin unto you. The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for their fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. You shall not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. But ye shall remember that you were bondmen in Mitzrayim, and Yahuah your Elohim redeemed you thence. Therefore I command you to do this thing. When you cut down your harvest in your field, and have forgot a sheaf in the field, you shall not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow, that Yahuah your Elohim may bless you in all the work of your hands. When you beat your olive tree, you shall not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you shall not glean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. And you shall remember that you were a bondman in the land of Mitzrayim. Therefore I command you to do this thing. Chapter 25. If there be a controversy between men, and they come unto judgment, that the judges may judge them, then they shall justify the righteous, and condemn the wicked. And it shall be, if the wicked man be worthy to be beaten, that the judge shall cause him to lie down, and to be beaten before his face, according to his fault by a certain number. 40 stripes he may give him, and not exceed, lest if he should exceed, and beat him above these with many stripes, then your brother should seem vile unto you. You shall not muzzle the ox when he treads out the corn. If brethren dwell together, and one of them die, and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her, and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she bears shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Yasharel. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders, and say, My husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Yasharel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of his city shall call him, and speak unto him. And if he stand to it, and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, So shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Yasharel, the house of him that has his shoe loosed. When men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draws near for to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smites him, and puts forth her hand, and takes him by the secrets, then you shall cut off her hand. Your eye shall not pity her. You shall not have in your bag divers weights, a great and a small. You shall not have in your house divers measures, a great and a small. But ye shall have a perfect and just weight, a perfect and just measure shall you have, that your days may be lengthened in the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you. For all that do such things, and all that do so unrighteously, are an abomination unto Yahuah your Elohim. Remember what Amalek did unto you by the way, when you were come forth out of Mitzrayim, how he met you by the way, and smote the hindmost of you, even all that were feeble behind you, when you were faint and weary, and he feared not Elohim. Therefore it shall be, when Yahuah your Elohim has given you rest from all your enemies round about, in the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance to possess it, that ye shall blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Ye shall not forget it. Chapter 26. And it shall be, when you are come in unto the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you for an inheritance, and possess it, and dwell therein, that ye shall take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which ye shall bring of your land, that Yahuah your Elohim gives you, and shall put it in a basket, and shall go unto the place which Yahuah your Elohim shall choose to place his name there. And ye shall go unto the Kohen that shall be in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day unto Yahuah your Elohim, that I am come unto the country which Yahuah swore unto our fathers for to give us. And the Kohen shall take the basket out of your hand, and set it down before the altar of Yahuah your Elohim. And ye shall speak, and say before Yahuah your Elohim, An Aramee, ready to perish, was my father, and he went down into Mitzrayim, and sojourned there with a few, and became there a nation, great, mighty, and populous. And the Mitzri evil entreated us, and afflicted us, and laid upon us hard bondage. And when we cried unto Yahuah Elohim of our fathers, Yahuah heard our voice, and looked on our affliction, and our labor, and our oppression. And Yahuah brought us forth out of Mitzrayim with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terribleness, and with signs and wonders. And he has brought us into this place, and has given us this land, even a land that flows with milk and honey. And now, behold, I have brought the first fruits of the land, which you, O Yahuah, have given me. And you shall set it before Yahuah your Elohim, and worship before Yahuah your Elohim. And you shall rejoice in every good thing which Yahuah your Elohim has given unto you, and unto your house, you and the Lewi and the stranger that is among you. When you have made an end of tithing all the tithes of your increase the 3rd year, which is the year of tithing, and have given it unto the Lewi, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, that they may eat within your gates and be filled, then you shall say before Yahuah your Elohim, I have brought away the hallowed things out of mine house, and also have given them unto the Lewi, and unto the stranger, to the fatherless, and to the widow, according to all your commandments which you have commanded me. I have not transgressed your commandments, neither have I forgotten them. I have not eaten thereof in my mourning, neither have I taken away aught thereof for any unclean use, nor given aught thereof for the dead. But I have hearkened to the voice of Yahuah my Elohim, and have done according to all that you have commanded me. Look down from your holy habitation, from heaven, and bless your people Yasharel, and the land which you have given us, as you swore unto our fathers, a land that flows with milk and honey. This day Yahuah your Elohim has commanded you to do these statutes and judgments. You shall therefore keep and do them with all your heart, and with all your soul. You have avouched Yahuah this day to be your Elohim, and to walk in his ways, and to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgments, and to hearken unto his voice. And Yahuah has avouched you this day to be his peculiar people, as he has promised you, and that you should keep all his commandments, and to make you high above all nations which he has made, in praise and in name and in honor, that you may be a holy people unto Yahuah your Elohim, as he has spoken. Chapter 27. And Moshe, with the elders of Yasharel, commanded the people, saying, Keep all the commandments which I command you this day. And it shall be on the day when ye shall pass over Yarden unto the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, that ye shall set you up great stones, and plaister them with plaister. And ye shall write upon them all the words of this law, when you are passed over, that you may go in unto the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you, a land that flows with milk and honey, as Yahuah Elohim of your fathers has promised you. Therefore it shall be, when you be gone over Yarden, that you shall set up these stones, which I command you this day, in Mount Ebal, and you shall plaister them with plaister. And there shall you build an altar unto Yahuah your Elohim, an altar of stones. Ye shall not lift up any iron tool upon it. Ye shall build the altar of Yahuah your Elohim of whole stones. Ye shall offer burnt offerings thereon unto Yahuah your Elohim. And ye shall offer peace offerings, and shall eat there, and rejoice before Yahuah your Elohim. And ye shall write upon the stones all the words of this law very plainly. And Moshe and the Kohen the Leui spoke unto all Yasharel, saying, Take heed, and hearken, O Yasharel, this day you are become the people of Yahuah your Elohim. You shall therefore obey the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, and do his commandments and his statutes, which I command you this day. And Moshe charged the people the same day, saying, These shall stand upon Mount Gerizim to bless the people when you are come over Yarden, Shimon, and Lewi, and Yehuda, and Yissaschar, and Yosef, and Benjamin. And these shall stand upon Mount Ebal to curse Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, Naphtali. And the Lewi shall speak, and say unto all the men of Yasharel with a loud voice, Cursed be the man that makes any graven or molten image, an abomination unto Yahuah, the work of the hands of the craftsman, and puts it in a secret place. And all the people shall answer and say, Amen. Cursed be he that sets light by his father or his mother, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that removes his neighbor's landmark, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that makes the blind to wander out of the way, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that perverts the judgment of the stranger, fatherless, and widow, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that lies with his father's wife, because he uncovers his father's skirt, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that lies with any manner of beast, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that lies with his sister, the daughter of his father, or the daughter of his mother, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that lies with his mother-in-law, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that smites his neighbor secretly, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that takes reward to slay an innocent person, and all the people shall say, Amen. Cursed be he that confirms not all the words of this law to do them, and all the people shall say, Amen. Chapter 28. And it shall come to pass, if you hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command you this day, that Yahuah your Elohim will set you on high above all nations of the earth. And these blessings shall come on you, and overtake you, if you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahuah your Elohim. Blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your cattle, the increase of your kine, and the flocks of your sheep. Blessed shall be your basket and your store. Blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed shall you be when you go out. Yahuah shall cause your enemies that rise up against you to be smitten before your face. They shall come out against you one way, and flee before you 7 ways. Yahuah shall command the blessing upon you in your storehouses, and in all that you set your hand unto, and he shall bless you in the land which Yahuah your Elohim gives you. Yahuah shall establish you a holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto you, if you shall keep the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim, and walk in his ways. And all people of the earth shall see that you are called by the name of Yahuah, and they shall be afraid of you. And Yahuah shall make you plenteous in goods, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your ground, in the land which Yahuah swore unto your fathers to give you. Yahuah shall open unto you his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto your land in his season, and to bless all the work of your hand. And you shall lend unto many nations, and you shall not borrow. And Yahuah shall make you the head, and not the tail. And ye shall be above only, and ye shall not be beneath. If that you hearken unto the commandments of Yahuah your Elohim, which I command you this day to observe and to do them. And ye shall not go aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. But it shall come to pass, if you will not hearken unto the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the field. Cursed shall be your basket and your store. Cursed shall be the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your land, the increase of your kine, and the flocks of your sheep. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. Yahuah shall send upon you cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that you set your hand unto for to do, until you be destroyed, and until you perish quickly, because of the wickedness of your doings, whereby you have forsaken me. Yahuah shall make the pestilence cleave unto you, until he have consumed you from off the land, whither you go to possess it. Yahuah shall smite you with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, that they shall pursue you until you perish. And your heaven that is over your head shall be brass, and the earth that is under you shall be iron. Yahuah shall make the rain of your land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon you, until you be destroyed. Yahuah shall cause you to be smitten before your enemies. You shall go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And your carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Yahuah will smite you with the botch of Mitzrayim, and with hemorrhoids, and with the scab, and with the itch, whereof you cannot be healed. Yahuah shall smite you with madness, and blindness, and astonishment of heart. And ye shall grope at noonday, as the blind gropes in darkness, and ye shall not prosper in your ways. And ye shall be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save you. Ye shall betroth the wife, and another man shall lie with her. Ye shall build a house, and you shall not dwell therein. Ye shall plant a vineyard, and shall not gather the grapes thereof. Your ox shall be slain before your eyes, and you shall not eat thereof. Your ass shall be violently taken away from before your face, and shall not be restored to you. Your sheep shall be given unto your enemies, and ye shall have none to rescue them. Your sons and your daughters shall be given unto another people, and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in your hand. The fruit of your land and all your labors shall a nation which you know not eat up, and ye shall be only oppressed and crushed always, so that ye shall be mad for the sight of your eyes which you shall see. Yahuah shall smite you in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of your foot unto the top of your head. Yahuah shall bring you and your king which you shall set over you unto a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there shall you serve other gods, wood and stone. And ye shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all the nations whither Yahuah shall lead you. You shall carry much seed out into the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Ye shall plant vineyards and dress them, but shall neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. You shall have olive trees throughout all your coasts, but you shall not anoint yourself with the oil, for your olive shall cast his fruit. You shall beget sons and daughters, but you shall not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All your trees and fruit of your land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within you shall get up above you very high, and you shall come down very low. He shall lend to you, and you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you, and shall pursue you, and overtake you, till you be destroyed, because you hearkened not unto the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you. And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever. Because you served not Yahuah your Elohim with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shall you serve your enemies which Yahuah shall send against you, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed you. Yahuah shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose tongue you shall not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of your cattle, and the fruit of your land, until you be destroyed, which also shall not leave you either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of your kine, or flocks of your sheep, until he have destroyed you. And he shall besiege you in all your gates, until your high and fenced walls come down, wherein you trusted throughout all your land. And he shall besiege you in all your gates throughout all your land, which Yahuah your Elohim has given you. And you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and of your daughters, which Yahuah your Elohim has given you, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith your enemies shall distress you. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left him in the siege, and in the straitness wherewith your enemies shall distress you in all your gates. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that comes out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith your enemies shall distress you in your gates. If you will not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that you may fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahuah your Elohim, then Yahuah will make your plagues wonderful, and the plagues of your seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon you all the diseases of Mitzrayim, which you were afraid of, and they shall cleave unto you. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, them will Yahuah bring upon you until you be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of the heaven for multitude, because you would not obey the voice of Yahuah your Elohim. And it shall come to pass, that as Yahuah rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you, so Yahuah will rejoice over you to destroy you, and to bring you to naught, and ye shall be plucked from off the land whither you go to possess it. And Yahuah shall scatter you among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there you shall serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shall you find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahuah shall give you there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And your life shall hang in doubt before you, and ye shall fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of your life. In the morning you will say, if only it were evening, and at evening you will say, if only it were morning, for the fear of your heart wherewith you shall fear, and for the sight of your eyes which you shall see. And Yahuah shall bring you into Mitzrayim again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Chapter 29. These are the words of the covenant which Yahuah commanded Moshe to make with the children of Yasharel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. And Moshe called unto all Yasharel, and said unto them, You have seen all that Yahuah did before your eyes in the land of Mitzrayim unto Pharaoh, and unto all his servants, and unto all his land. The great temptations which your eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Yet Yahuah has not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear, unto this day. And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxen old upon you, and your shoe is not waxen old upon your foot. Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drunk wine or strong drink, that you might know that I am Yahuah your Elohim. And when you came unto this place, Sihon the king of Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan, came out against us unto battle, and we smote them. And we took their land, and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubeni and the Gadi, and to half the tribe of Manasseh. Keep therefore the words of this covenant, and do them, that you may prosper in all that you do. You stand this day, all of you, before Yahuah your Elohim, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, with all the men of Yasharel, your little ones, your wives, and your stranger that is in your camp, from the hewer of your wood unto the drawer of your water, that you should enter into covenant with Yahuah your Elohim, and into his oath which Yahuah your Elohim makes with you this day, that he may establish you today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto you an Elohim, as he has said unto you, and as he has sworn unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that stands here with us this day before Yahuah our Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day. For you know how we have dwelt in the land of Mitzrayim, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by, and you have seen their abominations, and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Lest there should be among you man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turns away this day from Yahuah our Elohim, to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that bears gall and wormwood. And it come to pass, when he hears the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. Yahuah will not spare him, but then the anger of Yahuah and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahuah shall blot out his name from under heaven. And Yahuah shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Yasharel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law, so that the generation to come of your children that shall rise up after you, and the stranger shall come from a far land, shall say, when they see the plagues of that land and the sickness which Yahuah has laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that it is not sown, nor bears, nor any grass grows therein, like the overthrow of Sedom and Amorah and Admah and Zeboim, which Yahuah overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all the nations shall say, Wherefore has Yahuah done thus unto this land? What means the heat of this great anger? Then men shall say, Because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahuah Elohim of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Mitzrayim. For they went and served other gods, and worshipped them, gods whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. And the anger of Yahuah was kindled against this land, to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. And Yahuah rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. The secret things belong unto Yahuah our Elohim, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. Chapter 30. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahuah your Elohim has driven you, and shall return unto Yahuah your Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children with all your heart and with all your soul, that then Yahuah your Elohim will turn your captivity, and have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations whither Yahuah your Elohim has scattered you. If any of you be driven out unto the outermost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahuah your Elohim gather you, and from thence will he fetch you. And Yahuah your Elohim will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will do you good, and multiply you above your fathers. And Yahuah your Elohim will circumcise your heart, and the heart of your seed, to love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your soul, that you may live. And Yahuah your Elohim will put all these curses upon your enemies, and on them that hate you, which persecuted you. And you shall return and obey the voice of Yahuah, and do all his commandments which I command you this day. And Yahuah your Elohim will make you plenteous in every work of your hand, in the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your cattle, and in the fruit of your land, for good. For Yahuah will again rejoice over you for good, as he rejoiced over your fathers. If you shall hearken unto the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which are written in this book of the law, and if you turn unto Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul, for this commandment which I command you this day, it is not hidden from you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that you should say, Who shall go up for us to heaven, and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea, that you should say, Who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh unto you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. See, I have set before you this day life and good, and death and evil. In that I command you this day to love Yahuah your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply. And Yahuah your Elohim shall bless you in the land whither you go to possess it. But if your heart turn away, so that you will not hear, but shall be drawn away, and worship other gods, and serve them, I denounce unto you this day that you shall surely perish, and that you shall not prolong your days upon the land, whither you pass over Yarden to go to possess it. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your seed may live, that you may love Yahuah your Elohim, and that you may obey his voice, and that you may cleave unto him, for he is your life and the length of your days, that you may dwell in the land which Yahuah swore unto your fathers, to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov, to give them. Chapter 31. And Moshe went and spoke these words unto all Yasharel. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also Yahuah has said unto me, You shall not go over this Yarden. Yahuah your Elohim, he will go over before you, and he will destroy these nations from before you, and you shall possess them. And Yahusha, he shall go over before you, as Yahuah has said. And Yahuah shall do unto them as he did unto Sihon and unto Og, kings of the Amorrhei, and unto the land of them whom he destroyed. And Yahuah shall give them up before your face, that you may do unto them according to all the commandments which I have commanded you. Be strong and of good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them. For Yahuah your Elohim, he it is that does go with you. He will not fail you, nor forsake you. And Moshe called unto Yahusha, and said unto him in the sight of all Yasharel, Be strong and of good courage, for you must go with this people unto the land which Yahuah has sworn unto their fathers to give them, and you shall cause them to inherit it. And Yahuah, he it is that does go before you. He will be with you, he will not fail you, neither forsake you. Fear not, neither be dismayed. And Moshe wrote this law, and delivered it unto the Kohen, the sons of Lewi, which bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuah, and unto all the elders of Yasharel. And Moshe commanded them, saying, At the end of every 7 years, in the solemnity of the year of release, in the Feast of Tabernacles, when all Yasharel is come to appear before Yahuah your Elohim, in the place which he shall choose, ye shall read this law before all Yasharel in their hearing. Gather the people together, men and women and children, and your stranger that is within your gates, that they may hear, and that they may learn and fear Yahuah your Elohim, and observe to do all the words of this law. And that their children, which have not known anything, may hear and learn to fear Yahuah your Elohim, as long as you live in the land whither you go over Yarden to possess it. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, Behold, your days approach that you must die. Call Yahusha, and present yourselves in the tabernacle of the congregation, that I may give him a charge. And Moshe and Yahusha went, and presented themselves in the tabernacle of the congregation. And Yahuah appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of a cloud, and the pillar of the cloud stood over the door of the tabernacle. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, Behold, you shall sleep with your fathers, and this people will rise up and go a-whoring after the gods of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them. Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured. And many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they will say in that day, Are not these evils come upon us, because our Elohim is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they shall have wrought, in that they are turned unto other gods. Now therefore write you this song for you, and teach it the children of Yasharel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Yasharel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swore unto their fathers, that flows with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves, and have waxen fat, then will they turn unto other gods, and serve them, and provoke me, and break my covenant. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness, for it shall not be forgotten out of the mouths of their seed. For I know their imagination which they go about, even now, before I have brought them into the land which I swore. Moshe therefore wrote this song the same day, and taught it the children of Yasharel. And he gave Yahusha, the son of Nun, a charge, and said, Be strong and of a good courage, for you shall bring the children of Yasharel into the land which I swore unto them, and I will be with you. And it came to pass, when Moshe had made an end of writing the words of this law in a book, until they were finished, that Moshe commanded the Lewi, which bare the ark of the covenant of Yahuah, saying, Take this book of the law, and put it in the side of the ark of the covenant of Yahuah your Elohim, that it may be there for a witness against you. For I know your rebellion, and your stiff neck. Behold, while I am yet alive with you this day, you have been rebellious against Yahuah, and how much more after my death? Gather unto me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their ears, and call heaven and earth to record against them. For I know that after my death you will utterly corrupt yourselves, and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of Yahuah, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. And Moshe spoke in the ears of all the congregation of Yasharel the words of this song until they were ended. Chapter 32. Give ear, O you heavens, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, and my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. Because I will publish the name of Yahuah, ascribe you greatness unto our Elohim. He is the rock, his work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment. An El of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do you thus requite Yahuah, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he your father that has bought you? Has he not made you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your father, and he will show you, your elders, and they will tell you. When the Elyon divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Yasharel. For Yahuah's portion is his people. Yaakov is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land and in a waste howling wilderness. He led him about. He instructed him. He kept him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirs up her nest, flutters over her young, spreads abroad her wings, takes them, bears them on her wings. So Yahuah alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields, and he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock. Butter of kine, and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs, and rams of the breed of Bashan, and goats, with the fat of kidneys of wheat, and you did drink the pure blood of the grape. But Yeshurun waxed fat and kicked. You are waxen fat, you are grown thick, you are covered with fatness. Then he forsook Eloah, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. They provoked him to jealousy. With strange gods, with abominations, provoked him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to Eloah, but to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. Of the rock that begat you, you are unmindful. You have forgotten El that formed you. And when Yahuah saw it, he abhorred them, because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very perverse generation, children in whom is no faith. They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not El. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities. I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in mine anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap mischiefs upon them, I will spin my arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with hunger, and devoured with burning heat, and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of beasts upon them, with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of gray hairs. I said, I would scatter them into the corners. I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men. Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, Our hand is high, and Yahuah has not done all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that they were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider their latter end. How should one chase 1,000, and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and Yahuah had shut them up? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. For their vine is of the vine of Sedom, and of the fields of Amorah. Their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of marine monsters, and the cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me, and sealed up among my treasures? To me belongs vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand. And the things that shall come upon them make haste. For Yahuah shall judge his people, and repent himself for his servants, when he sees that their power is gone, and there is none shut up or left. And he shall say, Where are their gods, their rock in whom they trusted, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up and help you and be your protection. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, and I make alive. I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up mine hand to heaven, and say, I live forever. If I whet my glittering sword, and mine hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to mine enemies, and will reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revenges upon the enemy. Rejoice, O you nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto his land and to his people. And Moshe came and spoke all the words of this song in the ears of the people, he and Hoshea the son of Nun. And Moshe made an end of speaking all these words to all Yasharel. And he said unto them, Set your hearts unto all the words which I testify among you this day, which you shall command your children to observe to do, all the words of this law. For it is not a vain thing for you, because it is your life, and through this thing you shall prolong your days in the land, whither you go over Yarden to possess it. And Yahuah spoke unto Moshe that selfsame day, saying, Get you up into this mountain, Abarim, unto Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, that is over against Jericho. And behold, the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Yasharel for a possession. And die in the mount whither you go up, and be gathered unto your people, as Aharon your brother died in Mount Hor, and was gathered unto his people. Because you trespassed against me among the children of Yasharel at the waters of Meribah Kadesh, in the wilderness of Tzin, because ye sanctified me not in the midst of the children of Yasharel. Yet you shall see the land before you, but you shall not go thither unto the land which I give to the children of Yasharel. Chapter 33. And this is the blessing wherewith Moshe, the man of Elohim, blessed the children of Yasharel before his death. And he said, Yahuah came from Sinai, and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints. From his right hand went a fiery law for them. Yea, he loved the people. All his saints are in your hand, and they sat down at your feet. Every one shall receive of your words. Moshe commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Yaakov, and he was king in Yeshurun, when the heads of the people and the tribes of Yasharel were gathered together. Let Reuben live and not die, and let not his men be few. And this is the blessing of Yehudah. And he said, Hear, Yahuah, the voice of Yehudah, and bring him unto his people. Let his hands be sufficient for him, and be you a help to him from his enemies. And of Lewi he said, Let your Tumaim and your Uriim be with your Holy One, whom you did prove at Massah, and with whom you did strive at the waters of Meribah, who said unto his father and to his mother, I have not seen him, neither did he acknowledge his brethren, nor knew his own children, for they have observed your word, and kept your covenant. They shall teach Yaakov your judgments, and Yasharel your law. They shall put incense before you, and whole burnt sacrifice upon your altar. Bless Yahuah his substance, and accept the work of his hands. Smite through the loins of them that rise against him, and of them that hate him, that they rise not again. And of Benjamin he said, The beloved of Yahuah shall dwell in safety by him, who shields him all the day long, and he lives between his shoulders. And of Yosef he said, Blessed of Yahuah be his land, for the precious things of heaven, for the dew, and for the deep that couches beneath, and for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon, and for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills, and for the precious things of the earth and fullness thereof, and for the good will of him that dwelt in the bush. Let the blessings come upon the head of Yosef, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of wild bulls. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Yissachar in your tents. They shall call the people unto the mountain, and they shall offer sacrifices of righteousness, for they shall suck off the abundance of the seas, and of treasures hid in the sand. And of Gad he said, Blessed be he that enlarges Gad. He dwells as a lion, and tears the arm with the crown of the head. And he provided the first part of himself, because there in a portion of the lawgiver was he seated. And he came with the heads of the people. He executed the justice of Yahuah, and his judgments with Yasharel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp, he shall leap from Bashan. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor, and full with the blessings of Yahuah, possess you the west and the south. And of Asher he said, Let Asher be blessed with children, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. Your shoes shall be iron and brass, and as your days, so shall your strength be. There is none like unto the El of Yeshurun, who rides upon the heaven in your help, and in his excellency on the sky. The eternal Elohim is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And he shall thrust out the enemy from before you, and shall say, Destroy them. Yasharel then shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Yaakov shall be upon a land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. Happy are you, O Yasharel. Who is like unto you, O people saved by Yahuah, the shield of your help, and who is the sword of your excellency? And your enemies shall be found liars unto you, and ye shall tread upon their high places. Chapter 34. And Moshe went up from the plains of Moab unto the mount of Nebo to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And Yahuah showed him all the land of Gilad unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Yehudah unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, in the city of palm trees, unto Tzoar. And Yahuah said unto him, This is the land which I swore unto Abraham, unto Yitzhak, and unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto your seed. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but ye shall not go over thither. So Moshe, the servant of Yahuah, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yahuah. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knows of his sepulchre unto this day. And Moshe was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. And the children of Yasharel wept for Moshe in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moshe were ended. And Yahusha, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moshe had laid his hands upon him. And the children of Yasharel hearkened unto him, and did as Yahuah commanded Moshe. And there arose not a prophet since in Yasharel like unto Moshe, whom Yahuah knew face to face. In all the signs and the wonders which Yahuah sent him to do in the land of Mitzrayim to Pharaoh, and to all his servants, and to all his land, and in all that mighty hand, and in all the great terror which Moshe showed in the sight of all Yasharel.